How
Chapter
earthquakes
4
form.
Summary of Before the Coffee Gets Cold. Introduction. Chapter 4 brings the first story, The Lovers, toward its emotional conclusion. In the previous chapters, Fumiko Kiyakawa traveled back in time to meet her former boyfriend Goro Katada and finally expressed the feelings she had hidden during their last conversation. As the coffee continues to cool, Fumiko realizes that her time in the past is running out. This chapter focuses on the final moments of their meeting, the truths that emerge between them, and the life-changing realization Fumiko gains before returning to the present. The chapter is less about dramatic action and more about emotional resolution. It shows how understanding, honesty, and acceptance can heal wounds that seemed impossible to overcome. Time is running out as Fumiko and Goro continue talking. The atmosphere becomes increasingly emotional. The coffee on the table serves as a silent reminder that their reunion cannot last forever. Every passing minute brings Fumiko closer to returning to the present. For a long time she had dreamed about seeing Goro again. She imagined countless scenarios in which she could explain herself or convince him to stay. Now that she finally has the chance, she realizes something important. Her goal is no longer to change his decision. Instead, she simply wants him to understand how she truly felt. This shift in perspective represents one of the most significant changes in her character. Fumiko's honest confession during their original farewell conversation. Fumiko hid behind anger and pride. She never told Goro how much she loved him. She never admitted how frightened she was at the thought of losing him. As a result, their final meeting ended with misunderstanding and pain. In this chapter, she finally speaks honestly. She reveals the emotions she had buried for so long. She explains that her harsh words were not caused by indifference. They were caused by fear of separation, fear of loneliness, fear of being left behind. For the first time, Goro hears what was truly in her heart. The confession is not dramatic or theatrical. Its power comes from its sincerity. Goro's feelings become clear as Fumiko opens up. Goro also becomes more honest about his own emotions. Throughout their relationship, he often appeared calm and composed. Because of this, Fumiko sometimes assumed he was less emotionally invested than she was. However, she now learns that this assumption was wrong. Goro cared deeply about her. His decision to move abroad was not an attempt to escape the relationship. It was a difficult choice made in pursuit of an important opportunity. He had hoped that she would understand. When she reacted negatively, he was hurt, yet he never stopped caring about her. This revelation provides Fumiko with something she has wanted for months: certainty. She no longer has to wonder whether she mattered to him. She finally knows the answer. The truth about regret. One of the chapter's most important lessons concerns regret. Before visiting the cafe, Fumiko believed her greatest regret was that she had lost Goro. As the conversation progresses, she discovers something deeper. Her real regret was not the breakup itself. Her real regret was failing to communicate honestly. She had allowed pride and fear to control her actions. She had assumed that there would always be another opportunity to talk. By the time she realized her mistake, that opportunity seemed gone forever. The chapter suggests that many regrets are born not from what happens to us, but from what we fail to say and do when we have the chance. The meaning of love. The conversation also changes Fumiko's understanding of love. Previously, she had viewed love as something that should naturally overcome obstacles. If Goro truly loved her, she believed he would stay. Now she begins to understand that love is more complex. People can love each other deeply and still face difficult choices. Life sometimes forces individuals to pursue different paths. Love does not eliminate every challenge. Instead, it provides the courage to face those challenges honestly. This realization helps Fumiko see her relationship in a more mature and balanced way. The coffee continues to cool throughout the chapter. The cooling coffee remains an important symbol. The coffee represents the limited nature of time. Every person's opportunities are finite. Every conversation has an ending. Every relationship is shaped by moments that cannot be repeated. The rule that travelers must return before the coffee becomes cold creates urgency. But it also reinforces the novel's central theme: people should treasure the opportunities they have while they still have them. Waiting too long often leads to regret. A new sense of peace. As their conversation nears its conclusion, Fumiko experiences something she has not felt for a very long time: peace. When she first entered the cafe, she was overwhelmed by sadness and frustration. She was trapped in memories of what might have been. Now she understands that she cannot change the past. More importantly, she no longer wants to. She has received the answers she needed. She has expressed the feelings she carried for months. She has learned the truth about Goro's emotions. For the first time since their separation, she feels free. Preparing to return. The moment eventually arrives when Fumiko must leave. The coffee is almost cold. The rules of the cafe cannot be ignored. Although she wishes she could stay longer, she accepts that their meeting has reached its natural conclusion. This acceptance is another sign of her growth. Earlier in the story, she desperately wanted control over events. Now she understands that some things must simply be accepted. She says goodbye knowing that she has done everything she needed to do. Returning to the present. When Fumiko returns to the present, the world remains unchanged. The timeline has not been altered. The laws governing the cafe remain true. Goro still left for America. The past is exactly as it was before, yet something profound has changed. Fumiko herself is different. Her perspective has transformed. The burden she carried for so long has become lighter. The pain has not completely disappeared, but it no longer controls her. The experience has given her a sense of closure. Lessons learned. The chapter highlights several important lessons. Speak before it is too late. People often assume there will always be another chance to express their feelings. The story reminds readers that opportunities can disappear unexpectedly. Love requires communication. Love alone is not enough. Relationships depend on honest and open communication. Understanding brings healing. Healing does not always come from changing circumstances. Sometimes it comes from understanding them. Acceptance creates freedom. Accepting reality allows people to move forward rather than remain trapped in the past. Character development. Fumiko Kiyakawa. Fumiko experiences tremendous growth during this chapter. She begins as someone consumed by regret and self-blame. By the end, she has learned to accept her mistakes without being defined by them. She becomes more emotionally mature, self-aware, and compassionate. Goro Katada. Goro's character also gains depth. Readers see that he was never indifferent or uncaring. His actions were motivated by ambition, responsibility, and genuine affection. His honesty helps provide the closure that Fumiko needs. Major themes. Regret. The story explores how regrets often stem from unspoken feelings. Communication. Misunderstandings arise when people fail to communicate honestly. Time. The cooling coffee symbolizes the limited opportunities available in life. Growth. Fumiko's journey demonstrates how painful experiences can lead to personal growth. Closure. The chapter shows that closure comes from understanding and acceptance rather than from changing the past. Conclusion. Chapter 4 of Before the Coffee Gets Cold delivers a deeply emotional conclusion to the lovers. Fumiko's journey through time does not allow her to rewrite history, but it gives her something more meaningful, the opportunity to understand her past and express her true feelings. Through her final conversation with Goro, she discovers that love existed on both sides even when circumstances pulled them apart. She learns that regret often comes from silence, that communication is essential in relationships, and that acceptance is the key to healing. When she returns to the present, the world remains the same, but her heart is transformed. The chapter beautifully captures one of the novel's central messages. While we cannot change the past, we can change how we understand it, and sometimes that is enough to move forward.